Setting, the office of Reverend John. A sign on an easel next to the Reverend's desk reads, St. Clement's Church. Today, Thatcher funeral, noon. The Reverend is reviewing for the funeral service. He stops to say a reflective prayer.
Lord, as I tend your flock this day, help me to know the words to say, to reach them and teach them and preach the way.
His friend and parishioner Mark burst through the door, looking harried and desperate.
Mark, welcome. How's the new novel coming, Mark? Mark? Mark, you look terrible. What's the matter, friend? Take a breath, take a moment to unwind. There's a sorrow in your face I cannot comprehend. Grab a chair, won't you share what's on your mind?
Punch, brothers, punch with care. Punch in the presence of the passenger. When it's time to collect the fare. Punch in the presence of the passenger.
I'm afraid I don't quite understand.
I was sitting down for breakfast with a paper in my hand. I was following my usual routine. And I'm leafing through the pages till my eyes abruptly land on the most bewitching rhyme I'd ever seen. The rhyme went, punch, brothers, punch with care. Punch in the presence of the passenger. When it's time to collect the fare. Punch in the presence of the passenger.
Passenger? Like a passenger? Collect the are you going on a train?
Well, the rhythm was arresting and the meter had mystique and the cadence did a dance around my head. But with every repetition I could feel my will go weak, so I thought I ought to write a bit instead. See, I'm working on a thriller full of massacre macabre, so I tried to steer my thoughts to fear and rage. Told my pen to write a killer, but the only vital job were the only words that make it to the page. Oh, punch, brothers, punch with care. Punch in the presence of the passenger. When it's time to collect the fare. Punch in the presence of the
Yes, you keep saying that. I'm not sure what it means. It is quite catchy, isn't it?
So I set aside the novel and went out to take a stroll, maybe exercise the rhyme. But no matter where I wandered, I was under its control with my every step and tempo to the time. So I strutted home for supper, but I couldn't eat or drink because the rhythm kept repeating in my ear. And I tried to get some shut-eye, but I couldn't sleep a wink because the only lullaby that I could hear was punch, brothers, punch with care. Punch in the presence of the passenger. When it's time to collect the fare. Punch in the presence of the passenger.
Mark, that word is exotic. What on earth's a passenger? Mark, that verse is hypnotic. It speaks to me just like a prayer.
No, it's 40 hours later, but it feels like 40 years because I'm exercising maybe the worst.
Teach me, Mark, how that rhythm.
So I come to you, a man of God, to cast away my fears and offer you salvation from this
Teach
curse.
me how it goes.
From punch, brothers, punch with care. Punch
In the presence of the passenger, when it's time
to collect the fare.
punch in the presence of the passenger.
Punch, brothers, punch with care.
Punch in the presence of the passenger, when it's time to collect the fare. Punch in the presence of the passenger. Punch, brothers, punch with care. Punch in the presence of the passenger, when it's time to collect the fare. Punch in the presence of the passenger. Punch in the presence of the passenger.
It's gone. It's gone. I'm free. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, John. You have renewed my faith. I won't miss another service. Thank you, friend.
Scene change. Later, the funeral service.
We continue in our hymnals on page 113 with prayer for the departed. I saw the winging of the dove.
I saw the winging of the dove, bringing a prayer from high above to tend us and mend us and send us home, highway of the Lord, highway of the Lord.
We are gathered here today to mourn the dearly departed Christopher Thatcher, beloved brother, half-brother, neighbor, and librarian. Christopher was, well, to be fair, I didn't know him, but he certainly seemed to be on the right track. And now, next up, paradise. When all your pain is relieved by grace, you'll ride the train to a better place. Buy tickets now. Buy tickets now, my friends. Stand, brothers, from your chairs. Sit in the presence of the passenger. Christopher. When it's time to collect in prayer, punch in the presence of the passion. Christopher. And now, a word from you, madam.
I'm Martha Quimby, and I used to visit Christopher at the library every other Thursday. He was my favorite librarian. When Chris was at work, I'd lurk and scout. See, books weren't all that I'd check out. Hot friction, no fiction, his little pet. I should have been there. I should have been there.
Thank you, Miss. Now, where was I? Yes. With any luck, you will meet the Lord. Once the conductor shouts, all aboard! And buy tickets. Punch, brothers, punch in prayer. Punch in the presence of the Christopher. When it's time to collect collection basket? Page 113, prayer for the departed, verse 2. You know how it goes.
Oh, beloved, now depart. Father, with you his new life starts. So tend him, befriend him, and mend our hearts. Forever, amen. Forever.
Reverend, I have to know, were you with him at the end?
I was,
Good. Then you can tell us. What were his final words?
All he could say was, punch, brothers, punch his hair, punch in the presence of the passenger. It's time to collect the fare. Punch in the presence of the passenger.
We're in the Reverend's office. Later, the Reverend is curled in a fetal position on the top of his desk. The jingle and its effects clearly having taken their toll. Mark burst through the door.
John, my goodness, no one has seen you or heard from you in hours since the funeral. I was there, John. I know what's going on. John, this is terrible. Say it isn't true, or else, please forgive how I behaved. It seems that my affliction simply hopped from me to you, but I may know a way you can be saved. You see, it's quite simple. I was cured when you caught the bug. So you just have to pass it along to someone else.
No, Mark, I couldn't do that. I punch have faith the Lord will collect me. Each pious man knows that he serves a bigger plan. Though God has blessed us, he's sure to test us. It's only fair. This is a cross I'd have to bear. I can't forsake it. No, I can take it. Surely there's no Christian way to cure it. I've been called by heaven to endure it. It's just a little jingle. Just a little jingle.
When under stress, a fellow's life might be a mess, but it's disaster when he's the pastor. It's just a rhyme, you'll see in time. It's no great crime that you have passed it. Once you've been spared it, don't give up, cause nothing is impossible. Maybe you've been called to preach the gospel of the jingle. Just a little jingle.
No, I don't know, Mark. I can't willingly pass this nonsense off to someone else. And yet, it is unbearable.
You've got to choose. It's spread the news or sing the blues to give's a virtue. Your pride will hurt you.
Self-concern
And charity will mingle.
though my conscience might begin to
tingle. Think of giving gifts like old Kris Kringle. It's just a little jingle. Just a little jingle. It's simple, really. Just find a captive audience, a gathering of people who you can address all at once. A class should be in session at the conservatory down the road. Or even... Ladies and gentlemen, if you turn to the back of your program, you'll find the words for a most unforgettable little ditty. We invite you to sing along with us. Don't we, John?
Punch, brothers, punch with care. Punch in the presence of the passenger. When it's time to collect the fare, punch in the presence of the passenger. Everybody! Punch, brothers, punch with care. Punch in the presence of the passenger. When it's time to collect the fare, punch in the presence of the passenger.